We will find out the standard deviation with this formula. Sigma is equal to square root of summation f into d square divided by n. The individual series and the discrete series is the case in which we will find out the standard deviation by direct method as well as the assumed mean method. What is the value of m? M can be found using this. What is the assumed mean value? How can I find out the assumed mean value? That is 25. We have to find out the value of I as well. How can I find out the value of I? Using the method of this. Hello and warm welcome to one and all. It is Dr. Ravikumar YB, Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, First Grade College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. In today's session, let me discuss about the methods of finding the standard deviation. In the previous session, I have also discussed about the standard deviation. Now you will be taught about the methods of standard deviation, that is different methods like individual series method, then frequency distribution method, then you will have certain type of methods in which you have to find out the standard deviation. Let me take you into the details of it. In case of direct method, we will employ this formula which is already taught to you in the yesterday's session. That is sigma is equal to, that is standard deviation sigma is equal to square root of summation xi minus x bar whole square by n. This indicates that this is called a variance, or I can state that variance is equal to summation I is equal to 1 to n. We have xi minus mean whole square by n. This gives you the variance. Suppose if I write down everything under the root, then it becomes a standard deviation here. Particularly in this case, we have a variance now. If I apply the square root of variance, that gives me the standard deviation. Standard deviation by the method of direct method. Now, the same thing can also be represented as sigma is equal to square root of summation d square by n. So, where d is equal to xi minus x, that means the mean. Standard deviation, where n is the number of elements in it. Then we have the next type of data item for which we have to find out the assumed mean. Mean is different, assumed mean is different. What is the meaning of assumed mean? Let me tell you that. We do not calculate the actual mean, instead we choose the random value to calculate the deviation. The assumed value must lie around the middle value. It is also known as the shortcut method and also called as the assumed mean method. The assumed mean method formula stands like this, that is sigma is equal to square root of summation I is equal to 1 to n d square minus d square by n minus summation d by n whole square. That is, this has to be d by n whole square. That is the meaning of assumed mean method. So we have x minus a, where a is the assumed mean, that is the mean. It is not just a mean, it is an assumed mean. So if that is the case, the number of elements in the data set is represented by the symbol n, that is the total number of elements. Then step deviation method is another important method in which you will use the formula like this, that is to find out the standard deviation for step deviation method, you will use the formula like this, that is d square, that is summation d square by n minus summation d by n whole square into I. Everything will be under square root. It is not d square, it is d by n whole square. If that is the case, we have the same thing as it is like assumed mean data, but the only thing is step deviation method can be found with the help of this into I. So we have the value that is x minus a by I, where a corresponds to the assumed mean, n is equal to the number of elements in the data set, I is the common class interval. That means the class interval, the number of class intervals which we have in this. For example, for a grouped set of data items. So before moving on to the types of distribution, let me explain about the individual series. Here I have the marks, that is 55 marks, 34 marks, 78 marks, 58, 90, 67, 81. All these are the marks of one student. That is the individual person's marks in all of these subjects. If that is the case, let me calculate the same thing. So 65 is the first marks. Here in this case, we are considering 55, then 34 and all those things. So on like that. In case of discrete series, we are having 65. The number of students are having the 65 is 5 students. Then 86, 7 students. 58, 12 students. 45, 8 students, 88, 4 students, 92 students, 35, 1 student. So we will be having like this. This is called as a discrete set of data items, also called as a discrete series of data items. Here, the observations and the second column consists of the frequencies. As I have already told you that the number of times it is repeating, that means 5 students have secured 65 marks in subject 1. 7 students have secured 86 marks in subject 2. Then 12 students have secured 58 marks in subject 3. Then subject 4, subject 5, subject 6, subject 7. So this is the case. This represents the frequency of occurrence, also called as a weight associated with that. Then the frequency distribution, this is corresponding to the interval of values between 20 to 30. How many of them have secured? 6 students have secured. Between 30 to 40, 8 of them have secured. 40 to 50, 14 have secured. 50 to 67 of them have secured. Between 16 to 60 to 73 of them have secured. 70 to 89, 80 to 92. So we have these number of students who have secured from this range to this range. So moving on to the formulas associated with the frequency distribution, that is the individual series as well as the discrete series and the frequency distribution. If you look at this, you will see that by direct method, that is standard deviation can be obtained. Sigma is equal to summation d square, square root of summation d square by n, where d is equal to this. What is that? Xi minus mean. Square of that is this, square of that. Then similarly, for individual series, assumed mean method, that is also called as a shortcut method, that is summation d square by n minus summation d by n whole square. For step deviation, we do not find out the step deviation for individual series. Similarly, for discrete series, we will find out the standard deviation with this formula. Sigma is equal to square root of summation f into d square divided by n. Then for assumed or shortcut method, we will use summation same thing except f into d square by n minus f into d by n whole square. That gives me the shortcut, that gives me the assumed mean value, or by shortcut method, to find out the standard deviation in case of discrete series method. So again, we do not have any step deviation method in case of discrete series. That is, both for individual series and discrete series, we will not find out the step deviations. But for the other, that is frequency distribution, we will find out the only one thing, that is step deviation. We do not have a standard deviation for this, that is frequency distribution, which includes only the step deviation. In case of step deviation, we have sigma is equal to the same thing except this one, that is I is incorporated into it. That implies that I is the frequency distribution, that is the class interval between that one range to another range. What is the interval of that is considered here. Let me take up one example for this individual series, that is Example is 25 marks, 34, 21, 28, 60, 33, 72, 55. These are the marks secured by one of the student. If that is the case, we have to find out the mean of that. 25, 34, everything must be divided by 8. So totally 8 subjects are there. So 328 by 8 is equal to 41. This is called as the mean. Now we will calculate the variance. How can I calculate the variance? Using the formula as I have already discussed with you, that is xi minus x bar. What is the meaning of xi here? 25 minus 41 whole square plus 34 minus 41 whole square plus 21 minus 41 whole square plus 28 minus 41 whole square plus 60 minus 41 whole square plus 33 minus 41 whole square plus 72 minus 41 whole square plus 55 minus 41 whole square, that is equal to the value. The entire thing must be divided by n. How many? What is the value of n? That is equal to 8. If I solve this, I'll get the value of the variance. That is indicated by sigma square. What is the variance? If you look at this, you will see that the values varying from here. That is the marks 25. This is 256 xi minus x whole square, then 49, 400, 169, 361, 64, 961, 225. That turns out to be the value which is equal to 2485. 2485 divided by 8, that gives me the value of the variance. That means the square root of this. We have to take the square root of this for standard deviation. If that is the case, 2485 divided by 8, that is 8 3s are 24. We have here, that is 310.625. That is 310.625. That is sigma square. That is the variance equal to 310.625. This is called as the variance. That is equal to 310.625. This is the variance. If I take the square root of this, that is square root of variance, I'll get the standard deviation. That is SD is equal to square root of variance. That means SD is equal to square root of 310.625. That is SD is equal to some value which is equal to square root of this. That is 8 into 8, 64, 10 into 10, 100, 15 into 15, 225. It has to be more than 15. If that is the case, we have 16 into 16, that is 256. So we have the value which is equal to 17.624. That is the standard deviation for individual series. By using the shortcut method, what is the formula? The formula for this is summation d square by n minus summation d by n whole square. The assumed mean, what is the assumed mean of this? 38. Let us assume that it is 38. If that is the case, we have x minus a, that means x minus 38. Which is the first value? The first value is this one, 25. 25 minus 38, I'll get some value, that is minus 13. 34 minus 38, minus 4. 21 minus 38, I'll get minus 17. 28 minus 38, minus 10, 60 minus 28, 22, 33 minus 28, minus 6, 72 minus 38, we have 34, 55 minus 38, 17. So if I take the square of that, that is d square, we will get these values. 13, 169, 4, 16, 17, 289, 10, 100, 22, 484, 6, 36, then 34, 1156, 17, we have 289. So if I add up all these terms, I'll get this value, that is the summation of this. You will get 2539. That is 2539 divided by this value. That is d square by n. What is the value of n? Is equal to 2539 by 8. What is the value of this? If I do this further class simplification, that is 8 3s are 24, 1 3, 8 1s are 8, that is 5 is remainder, 5 9, 8 7s are 56.30, 30 is remaining, 8 3s are 24, 60. We have 8 7s are 56. We have 4 40, 8 5s are 40. We have 317.375. This is the variance, that is square root of, that is the variance equal to 317.375. That is the value of that. What is the value of that? 362 is the value divided by 217 minus 16384 divided by 47089. That is D is equal to 362. Please observe that. What is the value of D here? Xi minus A, that is 23. The summation of all these things will give the value of 23. That is summation of Xi minus A. Then summation of Xi minus A whole bar whole square is equal to 2539. If that is the case, D square by N minus D by N whole square. D square is what? What is the value of D? 23. 23 square is what? We have 362. Then by N is what? 217. That turns out to be the value. Then D is what? 128 by 217 whole square. That gives me the value of this. Everything under the square root, that gives me the value of this. That is 62170 divided by 47089. That gives me the value which is equal to 1.320, which is equal to standard deviation is equal to 1.148. Hence we state that the standard deviation is 1.148. This has to be mentioned at the end of this. Example of frequency distribution. Let me move on to the frequency distribution. In case of frequency distribution, between 0 to 10 we have 15, 10 to 20 we have 15, 20 to 30, 23, 30 to 40, 22, 40 to 50, 25, 50 to 60, 10, 60 to 75, then 70 to 80 we have 10. What is this meaning of this? We have the frequency of occurrence between this range of elements. 15 items are there. Between 10 to 20 we have 15 items are there. 20 to 30 we have 23 items are there. 30 to 40, 22 items are there. So if I multiply these terms with this frequency, that is the number of students, then I'll get the standard deviation like this. That is the step deviation method we will find. Please notice that we have already told you that is the individual series and the discrete series is the case in which we will find out the standard deviation by direct method as well as the assumed mean method. But we do not have the step deviation method for individual series and the discrete series. But that is not the case with frequency distribution. The frequency distribution is the one which does not contain any methods to find out the standard deviation. Instead, we will find out the step deviation method. The formula for step deviation method is this. That is the same thing as it is of the discrete series, that is f into d square by n minus f into d by n whole square, that must be multiplied by I. What is the value of I? We see that here m is the mean, and the following table we have to calculate the each class interval. How many class intervals are there? Please see to it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If that is the case, we have the value which is equal to, that is m is equal to L1 plus L2 by 2. What is the value of L1 here? That is lower bound. That is one of the value, and the other one value is added and divided by 2. That gives me the mean of this. We have, what is the value of that? Between 0 to 10 we have 15, then 70 to 80 we have 10. If that is the case, if I take the summation of all these things, that gives me the value of 125. That is 10 plus 5, 15, 15 plus 10, that is 25, 25 plus 25, 50, 50 plus 22, 72, 72 plus 23, that is equal to 75, 95, 95 plus 15, that is equal to 100, 110, 110 plus 15, 125. We have got 125 here. If that is the case, what is the value of m? M can be found using this. What is the assumed mean value? How can I find out the assumed mean value? That is 25. That is L1 plus L2 by 2. What is this? 15 plus 10. So what is this? 25 by 2. If that is the case, what is the value we have here? 5. That is, how can I find out the value of 5? That is, L1 is considered here and L2 is considered here. What is the meaning of L1 and L2 here? Let me clarify you this here. Between 0 to 10, we have 15 students are there. So totally it turns out to be the value which is equal to L1 plus L2 is equal to 30. 30 by 2 is equal to 15. But in this case, we have 15. What is that 15? L1 must be equal to some value and L2 must be equal to some value. That has to be divided by 2. What is the value I'll get? That is 10. I'll get the value 10. 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. If that is the case, I have 15 here. How can I find out between this value, 10 and 20? That is 10 plus 20 is 30. 30 by 2 is what? 15. We have got 15 here. 20 plus 30 is what? That is 50. 50 by 2 is what? 25 we have here. Between 30 to 40 we have, that is 30 plus 40, 70. 70 by 2 is what? 35. That is the assumed mean here. That is 3 items there and 3 items here. We have this item here. That is the assumed mean. Between 40 to 50, for 40 plus 50, 90. 90 by 2, that is 45. 50 plus 60, that is 110. 110 by 2, that is equal to 55. 60 plus 70, that is equal to 130. 130 by 2 is equal to 65. 70 plus 80 is equal to 150. That 150 divided by 2 is equal to 75. That means now I'll consider this 35 to find out the value of m here. M is equal to x1 minus 35. What is the value of x1 here? That is 5. 5 minus 35. What is the value of 5 here? x1 0 to 10. That is this. We have x1 minus 35 divided by 10 we have. So 35 is taken from here. What is the value of x? That is 35 means we have to divide it by 10. 35 minus x1 is equal to m. If that is the case, 10m is equal to x1 minus 35. If that is the case, let me transform this 10 or x1 to this side. That is 10m minus x1 is equal to minus 35. We have these terms here. Now 10m minus x1 is equal to minus 35 here. I have the common factor. How can I take the common factor here? That is not possible in this case. In this case, we have 10m minus x1. If that is the case, if I divide it by 1 by 10, that has to be divided by 1 by 10. Then it becomes the value which is equal to 1m, that is m minus x1 by 10 is equal to, let me divide the same term by both sides, that is 35 by 10. I'll get the value minus 35 by 10 like this. So if that is the case, what is the value of x1 in this case? We have to do the calculations like mixed fractions. 10m minus x1, the same thing. 10m minus x1 divided by 10. I'll get the value like this. If that is the case, 10m minus x1 divided by 10 now is equal to minus 35 by 10. If I further simplify this, what is the value I'll get? If I bring this towards this side, what happens? 10m minus x1 divided by 10 plus 35 by 10 is equal to some value. Let me consider the constant of this. X or x2. Let me consider it as some value. If that is the case, if I take the LCM of this, I'll get the value 10. That is 10m minus x1 plus 35 by 10 is equal to x2. We have these terms here. If I replace this m by some term, that is x1, I'll get 10x1 minus x1 is what? 9x1 plus 35 by 10 is equal to x2. If that is the case, we have this formula like this. Now, let me do the calculations. That is 10x2, that is 9x1 plus 35 is equal to 10x2. If I replace this x2 by x1, it becomes 10x1. Now, 10x1 minus 9x1 is equal to what? That is x1 is equal to 35. That means x1 is equal to 35. It becomes 35. 35 minus 35 by 10, 0 by anything, it becomes 0. If that is the case, this is not going to be the value of x1. If that is the case, what is the value of x1? Let me take the value of x1. In this case, 15. 15 minus 35 is what? That is equal to 15 minus 35 is equal to 20. Minus 20. Minus 20 by 10 is equal to what? Minus 2. But in this case, we have 5. 5 minus 35 is what? 5 minus 35 divided by 10. 5 minus 35 is equal to what? Minus 30. The minus 30 by 10 is equal to what? Minus 3. So we have the value which is equal to 5. x1 is equal to 5. Let me call this term as x. So x1 is this. Now, similarly, 15 minus 35 is what? That is equal to 25, 35, 20. 20 by 10 is what? Minus 2. Then similarly, we have minus 10 by 10 is equal to minus 1. We have 0 here, 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. Now, d square. How can I find out the value of d square? D is equal to formula, that is d is equal to xi minus a. This is the value, assumed value. What is the value of assumed value? That is 35. What is the value of xi? That is this one, 5. 5 minus 35 is equal to what? 30. 30 divided by n. What is the value of n? That is equal to, that gives me the value of 3. 3 square is what? That is 9. That means what? 5 minus 30 is equal to what? That is 30. 30 by 8. 30 by, how many values are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. 8 3s are 24. 8 5s are 40. 8 4s are 32. So 3 points of value you will get. If I square that, you will get the value 9. Similarly, 2 minus that value, 2 minus 35, you will get 33. 33 by 8, which is equal to 8 4s are 32. 4 4s are 16. That is, you will get 4. That is, you will get 2. 33 by 2, you will get some value which is equal to 4, right? Yes, 8 4s are 32. That is the value of D. But we have to find out D is equal to xi minus A. If you look at this, see here, xi minus A divided by I. What is the value of x here? It is equal to the value which we have identified here. This is the value of x. That is 5. 5 minus 35. Is it possible? If you see that the value of xi is equal to 5, 5 minus 35 is equal to obviously minus 30. That is equal to minus 30. That is this minus 30 divided by interval. What is that interval divided by I? What is that I? I states that we have total interval 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 we have. So in this case, we have to find out the value of I as well. How can I find out the value of I? Using the method of this total number of intervals between which the values are lying. If that is the case, we have found 4, 1, 0, 1, 4, 9, 16. Now if I multiply this with frequency items, that is with this 15 into 9, we have f into d, that is 3. 15 3s are 45 we have. Then 15 into 2, that is 30. 23 into 1, that is equal to 23. 22 into 0, we have 0 here. 25 into 1, we have 25. 10 into 4, that is equal to 40. Square of this is 4, but the square root of this value is equal to 2. 10 into 2 is equal to 20. We have 5 into 3, that is equal to 15. Then 10 into 4 is equal to 40. We have these terms here, f into d square. That means what is the value of f? 15 into d square. If I do these operations, 15 9s are 135, 60, 23, 0, 25, 40, 45, 160. Then I will add up all these terms. That gives me the value of 488. The 488 is substituted into the numerator. That is this value, 488 divided by 125 minus 2 divided by 125 whole square. That is the whole square of this into 10. That is the value of I. Now next we have the value 488 by 25 minus 2 divided by 125 square is 15625 into 10. So if I simplify this term, I'll get the value which is equal to 60998 divided by 15625. Square root of this is equal to 3.903 into 10. So the square root of this is equal to 1.975 into 10, which is equal to 9.75. This is the standard deviation. That is 19.75 is the standard deviation by using the frequency distribution. Then for any population, find the standard deviation using the population standard deviation method, which is similar to the individual. We can do it like this: 12 plus 2, that is 14. Add up all these terms, you will get some value that is equal to some value. Let me show you the values. The same thing here. Let me show you the values here. For this value we have computed here, 12 plus 45, 23, 11, 19, 3. You will get some value which is equal to 12 plus 45, that is 55, 57, 60, 80, 90, 91, 100, 110, 103. That is equal to 103. 103 by 6 is equal to 18.8, which is almost equal to 19. So for the second step, this is by sample mean. The next step is to find out the data element, individual data elements. That is 12 minus 19, that is going to be determined. That is 12 minus 19 whole square plus 45 minus 19 whole square plus 23 minus 19 whole square plus 11 minus 19 whole square. We have 19 minus 19 whole square plus 3 minus 19 whole square. Anything. Even if you get the negative sign, you will get the positive, because if you have a square terms here, that has to be divided by n. How many items are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That has to be divided by 6. You will get the value which is equal to that. See here, we have the term minus 7. That is 12 minus 19 is equal to minus 7. That is equal to minus 7 square is equal to 49. Then we have 45 minus 19. That is equal to 25, 26. 26 whole square is equal to 225. Then it is 255, I think so. It is 676. 26 square, that is equal to 676. We have the value which is equal to 676. So on like that. 23 minus 19, you will get 4 terms. 4 into 4 square is 16. That is equal to 16. Then you have the other one value, that is 11 minus 19 is equal to 8. 8 square is equal to 64. Is equal to 64. Then 19 minus 19 is equal to 0. Then we have 3 minus 19 is equal to 16. 16 square is equal to what? 256. So if that is the case, it is 17. It is not 16, it is 17. 3 minus 19 is equal to, we have got this value, that is 289. 17 square. Then if I add up all these terms, I'll get 1046. Now 1046 divided by how many items are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5, 6. 6 items are there. So that has to be multiplied by n minus 1 items. So if you add up all these terms, you will get the value 1046. 1046 divided by n minus 1, that is equal to 5. That is 1046 divided by 5 is equal to 209.2. You will get this value. This is the variance. If I take the square root of variance, that is 209.2, I'll get the standard deviation, which is equal to this, which is equal to 14.46. That is the standard deviation. You will do these operations by using the method of this population standard deviation. So with this, I'm going to conclude this session. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all. All these are the statistics. You will have to find out the values of addition, division, and all those things must be performed here. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all.